What's going on, everybody? Brett here, and I'm back today playing some more Battle Brothers and the Warriors of the North DLC. Picking up a little bit after where we left off last time. I ran around and beat the heck out of some locations, but we're good to go. So, that battle at the end of the last episode who did we lose? I thought we had lost Hans, maybe? I think Hans had died right at the end. I went ahead and I knocked it out. It was not that hard of a fight. Basically, what ended up happening was that hill position that we had at the end of the last episode, we had the exact same hill when I went back into it later, only like the reverse. We were on the other side, and I was really easily able to snipe out the Beastmasters. The Unhold went feral and stupid and didn't really do anything. So it was a good time. And I think just now I ended up beating a location of undead, pretty big location, and got some treasure for our troubles. So the one thing we did pick up was this helmet for Gimli. Sir Dankwart's conic feathered helmet. So now we have what, like 2, 3 of these? This one is Sir Liebrick's conic feathered helmet, and we also have the steel countenance. So I gave it to Gimli. I took off the full helm. We're going to hold that in our inventory just in case. I don't know who else really needs that. Oh god. And a hex out of nowhere. So I was thinking today, guys, for today's episode, let's just fight this Hexen, whatever. For today's episode, we're just going to do some fun stuff. This might be the last episode before we go into the Black Monolith fight. And I just want to do something challenging. You know, if a Hexen's going to walk right up on me, we may as well take that fight and see what happens. Now, this is kind of dangerous, though. Even a single Hexen is very dangerous. Because now we've got Lancel here causing problems. Let's send John out and see if we can't potentially get on top of the witch back there. Now, one of the big problems we have is that we don't have the ability to stun like we normally do. What we can do right now instead, I actually don't know if this works. Okay, that works. And we'll just, whoever, you know, in the front lines gets taken, we'll just try and push them back. And we're just going to have to endure. I mean, I don't know what else we can do in this type of situation. Just push them back. We can shield wall. And do our best to start cutting through these dire wolves. And get in the back line. And do some damage. Step forward here. The Hex is staying pretty far out of range. Not sure how easy it'll be to get to her. And these are good hits. These are all... Actually, they're not all Frenzied Direwolves. It looks like most of them are, though. These two are not. They're standard. These two are Frenzied. So, I've said it before. Ooh, I forgot to reload. The difference between the Frenzied and the standard Direwolves, that's really bad, is that the Frenzied ones can apply Overwhelm. That was really bad because he's going to get a chance to use an action because he used Adrenaline before he turns back to our side. So that's a pretty brutal combo against the Hex. And anyone who steps out, I mean, he's already got 5, 6, 7... 8 stacks of Overwhelm, he'll never hit anything. And anyone we get back here is going to have the same issue. 8 stacks of Overwhelm, that's crazy. Good. We just need a little bit of resistance. To help us, we kind of need to pull out our... Let's kill that thing. We need to pull out our banner. Raise our resolve level so that the odds of them, you know, corrupting us are much lower. This is a 91% chance shot and we missed. We rolled a 93. That's crazy. Let's roll some 60s. We only needed like 2 shots to kill this thing. And we whiffed pretty hard. Let's get back there. And let's use our Adrenaline and we'll get right on top of her. And you'll see, I mean, Lancel did some pretty serious damage to our armor. Could very easily have killed us. Can we hit 8% chance? We have 18 here, and we hit them. Cool. That feels like a freebie. And we're going to be like super aggressive. It's pretty easy to break dire wolves if you just move in at the right time. And here we're going to pull out our banner. We'll step up, get ourselves as close as possible. And when we move in with Isaac, we'll try and leave some line of sight. Maybe step in here, depending on whether or not we'll still be able to attack after we move in, which I don't think we will. Actually, if we step in here, we can attack. So let's step in, go for the decapitation, and we nail it. Happy to get another apple. But we do have a glutton in our party that ate the last one. I think it's Fritz. I think Fritz is our glutton. But that's one of the items you need if you want to make the potion that reverts all your perks back. So it's kind of an important ingredient. Alright. So not a bad little fight. Not particularly difficult though. But when you have the type of weapons that we have, there's always the potential that something can go horribly wrong. Like, had they taken, let's say, Gimli, and Gimli just turned and smashed someone in the head, there's always that chance we could have lost somebody. Happy to step in here, get better surrounds. Okay. Make these little incremental movements. So like I said, last episode before the Black Monolith, we're just going to look for some big fights, some fun stuff, orc warlords, and, you know, whatever else we come across. It's kind of what I'm thinking right now. Put myself in a good position so that we can just walk right into the Black Monolith and see how we do. How crazy would it be if we one-shot the Black Monolith? I don't think that'll happen, but that would be awesome. Wow, that's all we got from all those wolves? One gland? That was not worth it at all. That's why I generally don't even take those types of fights. They're just never worth. Let's see if they have any champions or anything like that up here. They do. Okay. I mean, this looks like a big fight. They actually have a shaman here and an overseer. This could be fun. And then there's looks like a big orc battle in the swamp. Did we fight this place already? I think we did. I kind of feel like I remember taking a swamp battle with a crap ton of orcs. And, like, not quite coming out of it okay. Huh. Well, this could be fun. And since all these battles are for fun, don't mind me. I'm just going to save the game right before. And see how we do. Does anyone need to come out? Probably should take out Jotnar, which sucks because he's really good against those little punks. Let's bring in Skeeb. Skeeb is great. We need to give him a shield. And we'll just give him Jotnar's shield for now. Very good. And you know what? I think the sword is just a much better weapon versus the goblins. Do we have any of these that are already fully loaded? Let's sort. Okay. And then we'll do this as well. I want to have all this ammo versus the goblins. Throwing weapons are really effective versus them. Something like this. Anyone else kind of hurt? Because this is a real deal battle. This is not like a, you know, 0 chance of dying type of fight. Something bad could go wrong here for sure. Yeah, we're good. We've got our archers in. Let's make it happen. Kind of unhappy that I just seem to always run into goblin champions and not too many of the other races. Their weapons are okay, they're not great. These types of battles always come down to how many kills can we get on the first turn. And if the answer is 0, you're going to have a long fight. They're going to just start snowballing damage on you, and it's going to be very difficult for you to move across, especially with the shaman. Expect us to get rooted here. Happy that we have some of our archers on high ground. Okay. Take the easy shots and try and get the kills. The kills work on their morale. Okay. And you just need to get a kill every now and then so that you're getting resets on your berserk. Good hit. And I'm pretty sure, don't really quote me on this, but I think it makes sense to me that by like freeing ourselves, what we're kind of doing is making the AI think it needs to cast. Oh, wait. That it's going to cast the roots again, which is what we want. We don't want them to use the beehives on us. Or the swarm of insects. And down they go. The champion's already dead, and we get the sword. So that's going to be our third one of those. That's pretty cool. So 3 kills, but one of them being the champion. And we still have a few attacks left that we can make. Like, we could step up and wreck this dude and this one as well. And that'll be 2 more dead skirmishers. Yeah, we're not scared of these guys. We missed there, unfortunately, but still not scared. Happy we held on to our attacks there. And if we step in here, we're just going to get netted. So let's hang back for another turn. And I'm going to step in here in front of Ozzy with Leisure Side. Leisure Side has tons of HP. Actually, they both have a lot of HP, but he has more armor. And it kind of puts him behind a little bit against some of these skirmishers. It makes him a bit more of an obvious target. And I'd rather they shoot at Leisure Side over Ozzy. And that gives Ozzy a little bit of cover, makes him harder to hit. We'll see who they shoot at, though. That's my biggest concern right now, is who gets shot. Especially by the Impaler on that Overseer up here. He didn't do anything last turn, but this turn he's in position to fire. And John's armor's pretty beat up. Alright, let's see who the Shaman goes for. The Shaman always breaks before everything else. Yeah, and they're going for John. That does not surprise me. His Nimble seems to have really protected his HP total. Alright, let's kill this guy. Oh my god, the double miss. Come on, man. Please. Alright, the odds on that were pretty low, but it happened. The idea is to get a kill, scare them a little bit more, and then get a reset. Here we want to free our ally. Let's... Oh, wait. Didn't even notice you there, sir. Let's get in here and get in the back. Perfect. So the idea being that you free someone whose turn hasn't happened yet. And we're going to use Adrenaline to get in next turn. Kind of to guarantee. And by freeing someone who hasn't gone yet, actually here, because he's melee, we want to use him to free himself. because we're always going to be using our ranged units to shoot. Man, I'm trying to finish my own train of thought. The idea basically is that that person gets a full turn as if they were never rooted. Whereas you free yourself and then you can't do anything. So it's better to have, you know, out of the 4 characters that get rooted, 2 of them don't get a turn, but 2 of them get a full turn. Instead of having 4 guys who only kind of half get turns. And that's the thought process behind that for me. So like these, Gimli didn't get a turn, but Lance did, or Lancel. Alright, so we managed to tie down the Overseer, which is what I was going for. We're heavily armored, but goblins tend to pierce armor. So we'll see how Lancel holds up. Kind of expect the Shaman to use something like Swarm of Insects on Lancel. Nope, gonna root us down here. Okay. And we're lucky. They're hitting us in our shield and our armor, which is what we want. Quality misses. We'll take them. Get in that back line. And we'll free our ally so that Leisure Side can move forward. Alright, Skeeb, let's go. And if you're wondering, I guess I didn't really explain that well why I decided to switch out the weapons. The swords are more accurate, and the goblins are pretty evasive. They're also lighter and allow us to use our shields, which is super important versus the goblins. Let's go for a shot here and see what we hit. Nothing. Okay. Step up 1. That's a whiff. Nice, and we can get off that pedestal finally and maybe join this fight up here. Right now I just want to tie down the Shaman, which I may or may not be able to do with John. So as we kind of try and wrap up this fight here, just share with you guys what I was doing about an hour ago. So, kind of a busy day. I actually took my PlayStation 4. I mentioned in a previous episode of, perhaps another episode of some other shows, other episodes of different video games, is what I'm trying to say that I've been doing, that we had a thunderstorm, a bunch of my electronics got fried, and I just took my PlayStation in to see how much it'll cost to get fixed, potentially. And they were like, yeah, if it's the power supply, it'll be like $100. And yeah, I'm not. You can buy a refurbished PS4 for cheaper than that. So that was like where I just got back from. And then earlier this morning, I spent a good bit of the time messing with my computer setup, and it's almost completely like finished. I have all the cords in the right places. Before I was kind of experimenting. I left the case open so that I could, test certain things and try and learn and figure things out, find, more optimal ways to organize. But I think I kind of settled on something this morning, and I'm done. I put everything where it goes. Everything's plugged in to everything else. I ran some audio tests yesterday. Ooh, that could have been really bad, Leisure Side. Ugh. Yeah, I ran some audio tests to see how, potential streaming will go. And OBS, I have actually a set of headphones that, for whatever reason, and this is probably just me being technically inept, it's not letting me use the microphone that's in my headset. and I'm not sure like how to set it to make that happen. But I've got a a microphone, a nice microphone, and I have a nice headset. But because I can't use the microphone and the headset that I have, I'm not getting the background noise canceling qualities that come with that headset, which I value pretty highly considering that my current microphone is right next to a mechanical keyboard, and there's really not much better place to put it. So I was, doing little snippets of videos trying to see how I could get the sound, you know, OBS has some things you can do that's a recording software, one of the recording softwares I try and use. You can make it cancel out background noise, which is really cool, by like limiting the frequencies it picks up. You basically like let it take an audio sample of your room's like ambient noise, and from that it kind of like knows from that point on just to kind of like cancel that stuff out. But that's not the same as like getting rid of the sound of the click clack of a mechanical keyboard, or the clicking of my new mouse that I picked up, which is kind of loud. So yeah, I'm trying to work on that. The last thing I want to do, guys, is start a stream. My first real stream. I've done tests in the past with a few people watching, but my first like real stream, the last thing I want to do is give you guys right off the bat just some real weak quality stuff. I'm the type of person, I don't like to do anything unless I know, I do it not perfect on the first try, because that's a little crazy. But I like to know what I'm doing before I start. And I think it's important when you're trying to give someone, a form of entertainment, perhaps, or something like that. You should try your best to make it quality. And sadly, I have so many limitations that are all just me being like an old man. We'll say it's over. We don't need to kill a few more goblins. It's not going to help us with anything. And there we go. We get the sword. I was hoping to get one more rare item potentially from this location, but it was not to be. This one has weapon skills built up 3 less fatigue. That's great. We know we want all the weapons, so let's take those. We also got another impaler. We don't have a lot of room, which is why I'm doing this. Ooh, 40? Yeah, we'll take that. These are worth 200. Guess we'll take some food. Alright, that's good enough. I'm not going to mess too much. Actually, this is obvious garbage. We'll get rid of that and pick these up. And then I like having goblin poison in my inventory. Maybe there's like just some quick thing I could throw away. Nah, not that I see. So basically, guys, I told you all that just to say that I'm like unbelievably close to reaching my goal of being able to stream. I've got lots of ideas for games that I want to stream to kind of augment the other stuff that I'm recording. XCOM 2 is pretty high on my list. Definitely going to be doing a Total War Warhammer 2 campaign. I've been doing one in my free time as a way of like testing certain settings, seeing. I think Total War Warhammer 2 is like one of those games that's so demanding, especially on like all the ultra settings that I currently have it on, that I thought it would be like a good benchmark game to see how my computer handles the stress of recording, as well as a really graphically intensive game like that. And it did great. It really does well. The coolings, I put in so much extra cooling in the cabinet, in the PC cabinet, so it's like it keeps the temperature down, which is something I was very much worried about. But anyway, let's sell some of this stuff. We have a lot of food, but unfortunately it's super redundant, and a lot of it will spoil soon. The prices here are fine to sell, so we will. Get rid of one of these impalers. We'll get rid of the broke one. Trying to be very careful not to sell anything I don't mean to. Because I'm like pack ratting a little bit, holding on to stuff. Gotta love these decayed helms and stuff. They're worth like a fortune. Alright, just like that, we're almost back up to 40k. Not that it matters too much if every time we go to a place to buy something, they never have anything unique for us to pick up. I don't think we need any dogs. Let's actually go on a round over here. And we'll go on like a shopping spree together and see what we can find. We'll just visit all the armories. Normally I do this stuff off camera just to make like the rounds and see what I can find. I really wanted to come out here and take some big fights, but let's do this first. We have 40,000 gold. If we find like a really cool bow or something in the Fletcher. You know what, we'll get there. We'll come back to Dornan afterwards. Let's not waste time sitting. It's going to cut into our crowns. We pay out 1,200 a day. Jesus. We can spend about 30-something thousand without really breaking the bank. Hoping to find something good here or here. So nothing in the armory. Nothing in the weaponsmith. Okay. I'm curious if like the relations with a faction has any bearing on whether or not you get those type of things in the game. Another thing I was kind of noticing was that we've had this ambition forever to take out another mercenary company. And I want you to know I've been on the lookout for a mercenary company that wasn't currently hired by anyone. That way we could fight them. But I haven't found one yet. Most of the time they're hired by people. So attacking and killing them, of course, pisses off that group. So we don't want to do that. Let's go over here to, I guess, yeah, we'll go to Burkwall first. But if we see a mercenary company, and they're not hired by anyone, we're going to fight them. And get this ambition done. Because your renown might actually be something that affects, and don't quote me on this, I could very easily be wrong. I'd love it if one of you guys knows in the comment section, if you could let me know. What affects how regularly you get things like, you know, unique weapons and armor. If it just has something to do with like trade caravans, if there's ways to make it happen more often, I'm not sure. It seems like a lot of different things like that can affect it. Isaac the Sisu shares tales around the campfire of northern heroics and monsters. There can't be much said of his dialogue, given that he isn't the most eloquent, but he does a great job of it through miming and drawing in the ground. One tale is of two lovers, and with great use of his hands, makes a riveting show of what it is to plow and be plowed, and apparently what it is to be betrayed and stabbed in the back. You're not sure who is stabbing whom, nor when, or in what sense, but the tale has the men on the edges of their seats and ends with applause. Awesome. Love those type of events. Man, not getting lucky. This is why I normally do this on my own, so you guys don't have to watch me bounce from place to place. Just trying to find some cool loot. Our crowns is just something that we're leveraging to get better gear, because at the end of the day, the only thing that really matters in this game is how good your gear is. Once we get into the Black Monolith, really nothing else matters. And another location with nothing for us. Yeah, that sucks. Okay. The leader donned the most astonishing armor. Got robbed from here, north of here, by a group of outlaws. I mean, there's plenty north. We could always just come up here and check, but I mean, they could be up here, for all we know, and they probably are. Well, let's see. Maybe we could find a unique piece of armor. North is a very relative term. Could be here. Could be here. Kind of the whole treasure hunt aspect. And of course, now that we're treasure hunting, it's nighttime. Alright, that's undead. We're looking for brigands. Not to say that there isn't something good there. Can we get lucky? Definitely want to climb the top of this mountain to see if there's anything around. Well, that's it. We can't get to this island. Yeah, let's just come ahead and take this this fight. The longer we walk without taking fights, the more money we waste. Let's see what we're dealing with here. Just some fallen heroes. No big deal. And we will let them come. Especially in the swamp, and they're going to take forever. Honestly, at this point, this is such a boring fight, guys. Feel free to fast forward if it's not your thing. Look how they can only take one step at a time. Jesus. Yeah, I didn't mean to get us involved with like some kind of lame fights on today's episode. I really want to do something fun. And this is the type of stuff I've been doing off camera. Like for every hour you see me like record at this point, I've probably played an hour off camera. A lot of it just like battle after battle after battle. To get our funds in the right place. That way whenever you guys are watching, we have what it takes to actually buy the things we want to buy and go the places we want to go. We'll step here onto the muddy earth. It's a better spot for us. We may as well get everyone on solid ground while we have the opportunity. At least there's no necromancer. If there was a necromancer here, this battle would take forever. Because they'd be resurrecting, we'd have to go and catch him. Sounds miserable. Guess it just gives me more time to talk about other non-related stuff. I was happy to see you guys seem to care a lot about the conversation we had in one of the last episodes about actors. That's the type of like deeper stuff I love to talk about with you guys, especially in like a stream format. But right now, I'm basically just sitting in a room talking to myself. So if sometimes it seems like I struggle to come up with a topic to talk about other than the game at hand, it's because I'm just literally sitting in here talking to myself, so, which I'm not altogether used to. But I have a feeling once we start streaming together, some of y'all that watch these videos come over and hang out, and we can have more active conversations. I think that's where we'll really be having fun at that point. I'm more of a deep thinker than I am a an entertainer. That is for sure. Please, please, zombies. Alright, that's something. Let's do this. Thank you. That's two for one. I'll take it. That was a bad shot. Didn't mean to do that. Can we get lucky? Is Hans the chosen one? Can he throw an axe and kill a ghost? Or maybe Skeeb the chosen one? Oh, blocked. Intercepted. Another thing I was doing before I sat down, when I was driving around town getting some of my errands done, like going to see about getting my PlayStation repaired, I was listening to some old Dave Chappelle skits and some of his stand-up. That dude is hilarious. Every joke still holds up. But some of it was really cringy because he was talking about at one point basically admiring Bill Cosby. And I was like, oh, if only he had known at the time. The man's fall from grace. I don't know about you guys. I don't know how old most of you are. I don't know what the general age demographic of my viewers is currently. But like I grew up kind of right about the end of where the Cosby Show was, still being actively filmed. Like, but they played it a ton. It was on TV every night, and I grew up watching it. And man, I just never would have suspected he was just straight up like a rapist. I don't even think that's that controversial to talk about. Yeah, you can't love people and rape people. It's just those two don't go together. That's the other thing we used to watch as kids. We used to watch kids say the darndest things. If you're not from America, it might be a little foreign to you guys, pun intended. But it's basically a show where there's like a host, and they ask kids questions, and the kids just say funny stuff, right? It's a whole show based around the funny stuff that kids say, and it's a really old show. I don't remember who the original host was a long, long time ago in the show's first and earliest iterations, but after a while, Bill Cosby took over, and we used to love that show. My whole family would sit down and watch it, uh, for like an hour at night. Never would have thought. But I guess I'm thinking about that, not even just because Dave Chappelle, but because my wife and I were watching some stuff about Scientologists. There's a show on TV, it's like Leah Remini, I think is how you say her name. She's the wife from King of Queens, which is another TV show, which is kind of where I know her best from. She was a famous Scientologist for a long time because, Scientologist really values its celebrity members like John Travolta and Tom Cruise. I think Will Smith is also a Scientologist, I believe. A few other very famous people. But she has a show, if you've never seen it, where they really go into depth about a lot of the crazy abuses and stuff taking place in Scientology. And on the episode we were watching, they had gathered together a lot of people. I mean, like a lot of people. Maybe 30, 40 people in a room who had been, some of them pretty high ranking and kind of important people in Scientology. And they went over a scandal I hadn't really heard that much about. And it might be interesting to some of you guys, like I said, if you're around my age. But something I used to do when I got home from school, I'm talking like high school, I would watch like That 70s Show. It'd be one of those shows that would be on cable, and I would watch it. And the guy who plays, what's his name? And now that I'm talking about it, I can't even remember the actor's real name. Hyde? Is that who? Yeah, Hyde. I think it's Hyde, the curly-haired, kind of pot-smoking character who moves in with them in the show. He, apparently is a pretty famous Scientologist. I had no idea. And he's accused of basically doing what Bill Cosby did, like drugging women and then raping them. Super messed up. And the thing is that like Scientology kind of like protects its own in a way that's kind of, I grew up Catholic, but it's in a way it's very reminiscent of the Catholic priest scandals, except I think it's much more financially motivated than embarrassment motivated. But yeah, it's crazy. So they had, for those of you who maybe aren't interested in the subject of, abuse, I can definitely understand that brings up a lot of different feelings for a lot of different people. But just as interesting, as that topic may be, the topic of like celebrity gossip, much more interesting to me though was the topic of how Scientology as a group kept people silent. Right? To me, that was interesting. It's the psychology behind that, and the types of things they had to do. So there was a person on there who, at the age of 14, their parents you kind of rank up in Scientology by giving tons of money. I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's all it is. And by giving a ton of money, his parents were considered like influential. Because of that, he was indoctrinated at an early age, this young man, and he became what they call like a Sea Org member. So it's like you're like a cadet almost. You go out on the boats with L. Ron Hubbard, his like yacht that like never stays in any country for very long, and it's considered like an honor almost. Like, you get to kind of learn at the feet of the master, sort of, or you get to, work with all the highest level people since, he's gone. And he grew up doing that, and at the age of 14, they do what they call, I think they call it auditing, where it's basically a form of brainwashing. If you study like interrogation or, man, they do this in so many different things. It's basically like the act of confession, right? Except you're doing it with another person in the room, face to face, and it's not just like a confession, like you would think of in the sense of like going to church. For those of you who've ever, gone to church and confessed to a priest the things you've done wrong, you can get kind of this anonymous, cathartic experience where you kind of forgive yourself, you reflect on what you've done wrong, and there's a lot of valuable insight to be had from a confession. But what they do is very different. It's like a pressure. It's like a pressuring you to, even if you haven't done anything wrong. And a lot of times the people they're auditing, quote unquote, are like children essentially. But they pressure you to come up with something that you've done wrong. And that's something that you can do oftentimes in interrogations. Why sometimes you find that innocent people sometimes confess is because there's a strange psychological kind of phenomenon behind it, whereby, pressuring people enough to either confess or to, come up with something that they've done wrong, they'll do it, whether they have to make it up or not. And that happens a lot. I know I did that once as a kid. I remember going to a confession with a priest. I hadn't done anything wrong, not anything that a priest would have to know about. I'm like 8 years old perhaps, and I just made some stuff. I lied. I told the priest I had stolen some money out of my mom's purse. To this day, I really don't understand why I said that. Hadn't stolen any money out of my mom's purse, but it felt so weird to be sitting there, quote unquote, confessing and not have anything to say, right? So because of that, I lied, which I guess is more of a sin than, than anything else I had done. I lied to a priest. But I don't take that very seriously as far as like me having done that wrong. It's just being a kid being a kid. But I thought the psychology behind that was interesting. And what happens is when you sit two people in a room together, like the Scientologists kind of do, what happens is you find that you're pressuring someone to tell you everything that they've done wrong. And when they do, it's a form of like almost mental abuse. It's kind of like torturous to force somebody to I don't know, break down, perhaps, maybe is a good way to say it, to open up in a way that's just, it leaves you very vulnerable and very susceptible to any type of coercion, I guess is like the long and short of what I'm trying to say. And they train these young teenage kids to do this, to perform these audits. And this one kid, this is a very roundabout way of me getting to this topic and bringing it back to the abuse. This 14-year-old kid, at the time, now a grown man, he was confronted with a Scientologist member who was basically admitting to having molested his niece, a 5-year-old girl. Of course, horribly disgusting. The 14-year-old, at this point, you're like, go to the police, right? But that's not what they're trained to do. They're trained essentially to just straight up, like, forgive it. As long as the person confessed, as long as they, go through the actual steps that Scientology deems necessary, they basically receive forgiveness. There's no real counseling. There's no, whistleblowing on members, at least at this time. And I'm sure it probably hasn't changed very much. As to, help the little girl, right? Tell someone, but they don't do that. And it was kind of disturbing to hear the account of how, you know, the guy said it still haunts him to this day, how he had to, you know, quote unquote forgive the pedophile and wasn't able to take any actions whatsoever to stop him. And he said to this day he knows that that person, this is awesome, that person is still a member of Scientology and a high-ranking one at that, and is probably still to this day molesting people. And I thought I'd share that story with you because that to me is just unbelievable. Guys, happy to pick up that piece of armor. We're going to look at it. Hopefully that conversation wasn't bothersome to you guys. Things like this, the psychology behind different things, the troubles of the world, these are things you know, if you join me on the stream, it's not going to be 100% video games all the time. I definitely want to talk about important stuff with you guys. So bear with me and let me do that. I think we'll have fun together. So this is the heaviest piece of armor I may have ever seen. The infamous harness. A rare coat of plates enhanced with chainmail and additional padding. A piece of true craftsmanship. Look at the durability on this thing. 393. Do we have anything that even comes close? 356. This has got to be the highest. And this isn't augmented. We could easily get this up higher. So because this armor here is so heavy, we got to be careful about who we put this on. I mean, we were looking for a substitute for Behemoth, but there's got to be someone with really good fatigue. They're not really it. Lancel's not really it. How much is this? It's 32. Could he afford to wear something heavier? Could do that. And I love the gold shoulder pads, so I hate like putting something like bone plating on top of them. We could add the direwolf pelt mantle. Or the lindworm scale cloak. Bring this thing way over. Nah, that's crazy. Or is it? I don't know. We could bring this thing way over 400 durability. Hans would just be an absolute monstrous tank. I kind of like doing that because he has the shield plus the helmet. But there is a Lindworm armor that we don't have, which is kind of, I was hoping to get that one day and put the Lindworm scale cloak on the Lindworm armor. I thought that would be cool. We could just throw these metal joint covers on them. That would probably look pretty sweet. Let's just do that and see what it looks like. I mean, that looks okay. It's extra 30 durability, as opposed to like bone plating, which is probably just better. Direwolf pelt mantles give us the resolve check without the extra 3 durability. How heavy are these? These are 42. Actually, these are just straight up better. This is 32 versus 32. Let's give this to Fritz. Do we have anyone who's still struggling? You know what, this is good. Give a little bit extra fatigue to Raynor here. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is an amazing pickup. I'll probably add something different to it later. But for right now, I'm just happy to throw those on there. They don't kind of interfere with the aesthetic of the armor, which is what I'm interested in at the moment, apparently. So, great pickup. And we can honestly sell one of these sellswords armors if we would like to. It's 36 versus, now that's another 8 fatigue. We don't want to bring that. Leisure Side has leveled. Resolve is fine. Let's give him some more fatigue. Let's just do some of that. It's all good. And we were looking for a rare set of armor from Raiders. Those were not Raiders. Wouldn't be surprised if there's just a bunch of like barbarians up here. But that was a sick pickup. That's like the heaviest armor you can get, I think. How heavy is the one that Lance was wearing? Actually, this one's 3. This one's pretty heavy as well. Don't we have 2 of these? It's hard to see. Yeah, these are pretty heavy as well, but this is definitely the heaviest piece of armor we currently have. Really awesome pickup. Yeah, let's just go in here and mess them up. We've only got 4 tools. We need to stop by a town and pick up some tools. Hopefully there's raiders in here, and we know that we're coming out of this with a sweet piece of armor. Svarog is finally better, in good enough condition to fight. And we'll just leave this. This is cool. See what we got. Oh, more dead. Oh, here we go. A champion, though. And it looks like that's the unique shield. We used to have one of these that got broken. He's got a military cleaver and a badass looking helmet. I can't zoom in, but I can see like the little figure on top of the helmet. I don't know if that's normal or not. I think I've seen the ones that have the figures on top, but for some reason I'm noticing it a lot more right now. Maybe it's just because I'm wishful thinking it. But that's going to be another unique shield. So we can give it to John and let do a little like shield swap, because we've lost 2 unique shields, maybe 3 in this playthrough, which is why one of the reasons I so heavily prioritize getting rid of axe guys. But yeah, happy to fight a champion, and there's always that that chance we're gonna get his shield if we don't destroy it, but also this location still could have its own legendary item that we could find. So cross our fingers, get a little greedy, and try and get 2 things. Is this our first fallen hero champion? I feel like maybe our second. If you guys remember better than me, let me know. I think that's our first, though. But we did have one of these shields already. This exact one. Probably would behoove me to start putting a little bit of damage on this guy. Soften him up. That way when he closes the distance, he's not that big of a threat. Because that military cleaver is very dangerous in his hands. Let's get that kill. That's an easy kill there. And this might as well be the swamp. It's going to take them forever to get to us, which is good. Once again, no necromancer means we can pick off a ton of them before they even get to us. I went on a walk last night, went to Target, which is kind of near my house. It's a little bit of a walk, but not that bad. And I was returning a Wi-Fi adapter that I bought to try and strengthen the signal in my office. Ended up not needing it. The Wi-Fi adapter that kind of came with the computer was good enough. And so I was returning that, and I went through the DVD section to see new movies might be interested in picking up. I try not to buy movies new because they're way overpriced when they first come out. Every movie is $20, but if you wait a couple months, they'll be $3 in a bargain bin somewhere. But I was walking around and I saw Hellboy, the new Hellboy movie. People were giving it so much hate before it had even come out that I didn't even watch any of the trailers. I didn't want to know anything about it. I wanted to judge it completely for myself. And I still want to watch it, even though it got such bad reviews. I mean, I'm the type of person that can enjoy crummy movies sometimes. As long as you go into it understanding that it's not a good movie. It's not going to be your Godfather, you know, caliber of film. But, you know, is it enjoyable? Sure. So that's basically all I'm hoping to get out of it. But I'm just not willing to pay $15 for a movie that I don't know whether or not it's good. Curious what you guys think. If you've seen it. No spoilers, but like I would love to know from some of you, like, just what do you think about it if you saw it. I haven't looked up like its Rotten Tomatoes or, you know, whatever ratings, but it's got to be pretty low, which makes me sad because I love the other Hellboy films. I never got into reading. I guess they're like probably considered graphic novels. I never got into reading those. They might just be comics. I don't know. Seems to me like it's almost more suitable to a graphic novel. But yeah, I never read them, but I always loved the movies. And it just made me feel bad if they made it suck. I missed an attack there. Let's try not to do that again. Yeah, we should have a little bit more damage. So okay, it's not a unique helm. Both of these have the same helmet. It's mostly just a little design on the top that looked different from others that I had seen. We need to get our banner out too. Alright, John wants to run. That's interesting. John has really high resolve. Step in. Nice. I went for the decapitation. I wasn't sure about it, but felt like it was worth a shot. Hammer's not the best weapon once the armor's already gone. We're going to have to step in on the Geist at some point. They're not going to come to me. That was probably a mistake not to put Behemoth there, because now we're kind of closed off. Just keep this front line clear. Let's get the banner out and rally. That did not bring John back. That's crazy. Almost got him. He's going to get a chance to attack. Switch it up. Get that sword out. Sword's a perfect weapon for killing the Geist. The Reproach of the Old Gods is the perfect weapon for killing mass Geist, but unfortunately we routed. Hopefully he comes back next turn. Because right now he's already basically put himself so far out of the fight that he's almost useless. Yeah, let's get in there. Try and get some kills. Put our bannerman in a more relevant position. Hopefully they don't get too many resurrected. 3. Okay, 3 is quite a bit. Really don't want these guys to rout because they're holding up all of these fallen heroes. Just let me kill Sir Hilderic the Defiled. Hit him in both the head and the body. There we go. Okay, and we get the shield. It's exactly what we thought. Let's go for the destroy armor, and we whiffed. Went to get the easy kill. Sometimes that'll help with our resolve, making it a lot harder for us to be made to run. You're going to pull out the bill hook and be ready for next turn. We got to start whittling down these guys. All right, you made it back in the club, John. Perfect. Okay, now if they don't resurrect like they did last time and knock Behemoth off, we might be able to start killing them. Okay, to be expected. He resurrects, but it looks like he's not considered a champion anymore. His little special border around the bottom looks like it's gone. Alright, they routed Lancel. Whoop, almost took that shot. Step here. We should be able to decapitate both of these. God, if I hadn't stepped in here, we could do a round swing. That's an easy kill. We'll take it. Put down that hero one more time. Try to rally Lancel and Ski, but it's just not happening. Alright. Double decapitations. Okay, we only got one. Didn't have enough fatigue for the other. At least Lancel's kind of stuck here. Ski managed to dodge all that. Well, he jumped out. Okay, wasn't quite so stuck. Man, our rallies have been really weak. Whenever we absolutely need rallies, we definitely want to bring in Wonton Fu for that. His resolve being well over 100 makes him a much better candidate. But for the most part, I would think that with our brothers being generally around 60 resolve, plus the banner being out, adding, you know, sometimes as much as 10, around 10 on average in this kind of area, we just shouldn't be having these types of problems. I think we're getting a little unlucky. Good man, though. Behemoth keeps nailing the ghosts. It's definitely a ghost slayer. Awesome. That was way better than I could have hoped for. Are you the chosen one, Ragnar? You're not. You are not the chosen one. Believe it or not, I have hit Geist with ranged firepower before. It can happen. Swords and spears, though, your best bet. They get an extra 10% chance to hit, so that's why. Come on, two guys, let's go. Let's just pass. Almost. It's very tempted there just to shoot in the back just to see if we could hit him. Come on. That's a big whiff. Hans is still running. Alright, let's see if we can beat this before Hans completely flees the battlefield. Man, looks like we destroyed the helmet. It's an expensive little piece. Would have been nice to pick up. Please. 38% chance. 42? Alright, leisure side nails it. Good man. And we get pretty... Wow, look at all these tomes. We could start our own library. We get the Fallen Heroes Barricade, an elongated wooden shield that offers good protection also to the lower body, despite its apparent age. Somewhat bulky to handle in close combat engagements. It's a good shield, it's just a better kite shield. So, didn't really find what I was looking for, I don't believe. But, still a cool pickup, I guess. So, we had moved some shields around. Let's give this to John. He's going to hold the Kraken shield once we finally make it. Let's give Lancel his shield back. Which one did we have on? Oh man, I don't remember which one it was. The one with the higher melee defense, I think. And then we'll give Yonar his back. But guys, I think that's going to be it for me today. We ended up kind of just wandering around and rambling, which is okay. That's half the fun of Battle Brothers, is the exploration. And in my free time, I'm definitely going to put us into a great position tomorrow to go ahead and start the Black Monolith fight. So look forward to that. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Once again, my name is Brett. My channel is Goodtalk Gaming. See you later, guys. Take care.